dirty.
Oh my God in heaven. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the late game. This is episode 25. Today is Wednesday, the 29th of April. And as you can see, we have Zombie Grub, Zombie Grub, Zombie Grub, Zombie Grub, and Zombie Grub on the show. This is an error with XSplit. So,
What is this? You're like, what the fuck? Do you have the stream open? You guys
yeah, they can, yeah.
I didn't know you were so fucking conceited. Jesus.
Zombie Grub said, I will be the only image, or I will not come on your show. There we go.
This is amazing.
So anyway, I don't know if I'm liking enough stuff, but today our topic is the impact of having more women on a stream to see if that would in popularity.
You know, I said drama-free stream, and we broke that in less than 30 seconds.
Really count as drama to you? I haven't been in the StarCraft game for a while, but this seems pretty light.
That lost passion. You know, I wanted to bring up the video of you and Sky Williams and Total Biscuit and all that stuff a couple of weeks ago.
This is like 6 months ago. What the fuck?
Was it that long ago?
Holy
No,
shit.
I didn't want to bring it up today. I wanted to bring it up when it happened, but I was like, I just can't seem to really just fit that into the show. Because, you know, it has nothing to do with this, and really it just has to do with streaming in general, not specific to any esport.
Wow.
But anyway, I'm
Okay.
sorry. I'm focusing on this.
Are you salaried or are you hourly?
Salary.
Oh my god, dude, I'm so sorry.
Hey, well...
Dog, you get fucked so hard! I don't think if I ever went back to normal work, I don't know if I would ever take a salary job. Dude, they fuck salary people.
Well,
Fucking call you in the middle of the night, hey, can you come work on this?
Dude.
Why can't you get fucking XYZ to do it? Well, they'd have to clock in. Oh, fucking kill yourself, mate. Oh, fuck that shit.
Alright, so this doesn't operate entirely that way, but let me tell you what, the other night there was a fucking Whitney Houston concert in Las Vegas, and our company was managing the transport of it to another company in New York. I got 8 calls between midnight and 4 a.m. about that Whitney Houston concert.
Right.
So I didn't sleep. That was a fun night. But no, it's fine. I get, like, Mondays and Wednesdays I'm off.
That totally sounds fine.
Well, Jack Tech, can you raise your volume 2 bars, please?
2 bars.
Yeah.
Stat.
But
I
yeah,
think like 4 bars, he's pretty quiet.
he's pretty quiet.
Just shout for the rest of the show.
So how many, what is like the bars? Is that like a scientific measurement? Like,
No, that's been my guesstimate of what it sounds like.
1 metric bar.
You need to go up like 10 bars, dog.
10 bars.
What's your meter set
The
to?
whole thing, man.
What's your, oh. Bring it up like, what's your bar, what bar are you set at right now?
I think
there we go.
You're good.
Is that nice?
That's
Yeah.
fucking beautiful.
It's sexy, man.
Welcome
Holy shit.
to the late game.
Jesus Christ, you should do the intro for all of them.
If your voice would have been
Ladies
this
and
loud
gentlemen.
on the last late game, I think we probably would have that the dual mining thing set up. The 2 workers.
Yeah, man. That's the only thing that we need. We need more base, and if we have more base, then double harvesters is
All
gonna
right,
happen.
you guys want to talk
Nero.
sweet bass? Go ahead, you're talking something to Nero?
Why? How do you feel that someone in chat knows you as the Nidus all-inner guy, and he fucking hates you? Austin?
Well,
Captain
that's
Wilson's
just a
weird.
way of saying that he died tinnitus.
Wow.
All right, so you do seem to like Nidus. I mean, that's the 2 replays I remember from the Lycan League of you, Nero. You were using a Nidus worm, and then this guy apparently calls you the Nidus all-inner. Do you like the Nidus? Is that like your favorite feature of the game?
So there's a story. I was in Washington State in the rain, and I'm meditating in the rain, thinking about which Zerg shit people aren't using. In Wings of Liberty, Destiny makes the Infestor his thing. Nobody fucking uses Nidus Worm. Why? Because it's awkward. Mechanically, it's awkward, and it's very expensive. So if you practice the mechanic over and over again, you can eliminate most of the awkwardness. It still is expensive, and it's still pretty all-in, but you can use it at a Master and GM level on the ladder. So for Legacy of the Void, it's just better. And with the inability of players to stop it with workers, you're guaranteed to get at least the first unit out, maybe not more, and then it becomes kind of a micro battle of how well you can transfuse the exit with your queens. It's really fun to do.
That was a great answer. I'm excited to talk shop with you and Jack Attack today. This is going to be sick. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about Gfinity. Let's go over the topics. We're going to talk about Gfinity Spring Masters 2. That's coming up. The groups have been released by Sir Robert Olin, now Gfinity Bob on Twitter. WCS NA and EU, these are still going down. Some crazy games today. All 5 members of Team Liquid have made it through, which is pretty awesome if you're a Team Liquid fan. And Naniwa did not make it through today.
Sorry.
I'm not laughing at him. I'm laughing because they laughed.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm laughing. Fucking. Does anybody follow Slasher on Twitter?
No. Yeah, I do, but I didn't.
Does Slasher have drama with anyone? All I saw when I woke up this morning, I saw Slasher tweeted something like, all 5 members of Liquid made it into WCS, and anyone dropped out round 1. All was right in the world. I had no idea. I didn't know Slasher hated anyone or whatever.
I didn't think there was anything.
Gung Fu Panda had some words on Twitter with Naniwa, but aside from that, I didn't hear anything.
Right.
No, they yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so we've got that on the docket. We have WCS NA EU, ladder anxiety, and positive mental attitude. We're going to go to our man Neuro, especially for that. He's been if you don't know about Neuro, he runs a stream. He is very calm, zen kind of player, and he's very logical and really relaxed in his play. So we're going to talk about how that affects your play on the ladder, especially where most people find their anxiety and struggle to learn. We're going to go talk mid-season demotions. We're going to talk about improving in StarCraft 2. We'll send Jack Attack to the focus with that. And then we'll talk about the Legacy of the Void balance update. A lot of changes, some kind of unexpected, but hey, we're getting there. Lots of time left for that. Then we're going to go over the tweaks I'm making to the Lycan League, and then we'll answer your questions that you ask in the Reddit thread. If you didn't find that, that is on the Reddit front page right now. So reddit.com/r/StarCraft. Like none of you know that. Anyway. So, first topic, Gfinity. We're going to switch screens. Give me 1 second. I didn't get to adjust this yet, so bear with me. But we're going to go into the groups. I'm going to link you guys the groups in the chat.
Got them.
You got them already? All right.
Yeah, man.
I'm linking to you guys in the chat. It's on the, you go to the main screen of that program, you'll see it. And for everyone at home, I am putting the groups up right now. Screen capture. Bazinga. Perfect. We're just going to full screen this, so I'm not even worried about getting cameras in here. Anyway, so we have 4 groups coming up this weekend. It's going to be Hyun, Jaedong, Showtime, and True in Group A, Bunny, Heart, MC, and Patience in Group B, Bling, Soxry, SOS, Euthermal in Group C, and Hydra, Sand, Solar, and Symbol in Group D. Zombie Grub, taking a look at these, how do you think the foreigners are going to do?
That's the sound of Zombie Grub reaching out for hope and finding nothing.
So our foreigners are Showtime, Bunny, Bling, Euthermal, and that's it?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The 5?
Yep.
I think Euthermal could technically get out, but you have to be, I'd say, Soxry more than SOS. Or maybe if SOS is playing bad that day, I don't know. I just basically only have open Bunny, so I imagine that's a lot of people's feelings right now.
Yeah, I think Bunny's going to do really well in that group. I mean, I see Bunny and MC coming out of Group B. That's my thought. Euthermal and Bling coming out. I haven't seen a lot of SOS. I don't know what his game's like, but I still have a hard time seeing foreigners taking
he's
SOS
still pretty good
down.
at Pro League, so
Yep.
it's gonna be hard.
Yeah, it's predictions time, guys. This is the most fun and exciting. Group A, Showtime.
This is a LAN, yeah. Please excuse the ignorance, but or is this
Yes.
online?
Nope,
This-
LAN.
All right.
Yeah. Jaedong seems to perform better at LANs, but he still isn't showing very good games, so I could see Showtime. I don't mean to be mean here, but Protossing 2 of these Zergs.
Holy fuck, the fucking balance wine is real. Are we being real right now?
We're being
Balance
super
line.
real.
Sorry, I'm
It's just statements of truth is what it is. It's
Balance one would be like, well, he's Protoss, so of course he's gonna get out because they're winning like 80% of their games or some shit, which isn't true. But I could see like Jaedong messes up versus Protoss like on and off. He has like terrible games with them, and he's not been in really good form. Hyun is still a mystery, surprisingly, because he used like in 2013 he was like in every single fucking tournament ever. True is pretty good, so I'm actually gonna say True gets out. But Hyun and Jaedong I could actually see going down to Showtime. If he's really on form and really has a couple of builds, I would surprise them.
Okay, I don't know how to ask this. Like, someone sent me a Skype photo over Skype, and everyone's like, apparently saw it, and I don't know how everyone saw that.
What?
It's not a bad.
I believe the move would be to not give attention to it.
Yeah, right.
And move
I'm just
in the
curious.
forward direction. But if you
Well,
want,
now you brought it up. I mean, what was it?
at this point in time, we gotta know.
Well, it's a photo of cheese and alcohol, but I mean, I just don't know how it showed up, so I'm wondering like where I'm screwing up on my screen regions.
I'm very
Right?
disappointed.
Revelation ever. I can't even believe you wasted our time with that.
I know. Anyway, back to this Gfinity. Let's talk a little bit about Gfinity and their productions and their setup. Someone brought up the question on Reddit, what we think of Gfinity, and they were talking about Gfinity as an organization running. Let me update the title about this since we're talking about them. Gfinity as an organization. Are they doing just the exact same thing as everyone else and just not doing it as well? And the one thing I want to say is, as far as Gfinity and not running it as well, it's a new organization. They just got Red Eye last month, I believe, a month and a half ago. They got Red Eye on board, and he's going to do magic. He's going to do wonders for them. It's going to be just fine with him, but there are growing pains. He said going into it, there are things that need to be changed, and we can't be shocked about that. But go ahead, Jack Tech. Give us your thoughts on just Gfinity overall in the production and the work they're doing.
Yeah, I read a little bit about that question, and it goes into the idea of like, should they try to find some sort of niche and like do their tournament a special way, similar to like Home Story Cup has their own special little niche kind of a thing. I think that Gfinity has a lot of potential. I don't know how much of Robert Olin was, due to the success of DreamHack and all that kind of stuff.
I don't believe it was that much. Maybe that's just me though. Everybody really seems to like Robert. I mean,
he's like a public face, right? But like, how much does it actually like contribute to the success or failure of DreamHack? Like, I don't know that, but I think Red Eye is a really nice pickup, and I think they have a lot of potential. I don't think it's necessary for them to go into some sort of like niche role. I think they can just be like a really good, solid tournament, and the production value is going to go up, and like the prize pools are going to go up, and they're going to be a major player in the future.
Did you guys see have you guys seen pictures of the studio?
No.
So they took what looks like I believe it's an old movie theater, and they completely revamped it so they have different stages. So when you would actually walk through a movie theater and see like, what do you call it? Theater 1, Theater 2, Theater 3, they now have them called like Stage 1 or Arena 1, Arena 2, Arena 3. It looks pretty cool. And it's, dark, kind of like a laser tag room going into it. And then they have the inside, which has the, where the screen would be. They have the booths and all that for the different games and all that. It's pretty cool.
And it's like the Gfinity Arena, so it's like their own home base. It's not like they're gonna be like going around and renting out all kinds of different places. Like they're creating like a solid physical place that they're gonna just bring people to and host tournaments, which is cool. I think that's showing that sort of investment is a good sign.
Yeah, yep, definitely. Neuro, did you get to follow the last Gfinity?
Nope.
Nope.
Fuck, Neuro.
He was busy lurker dropping people on Legacy of the Void.
Yep.
Takes
There
a
we
lot
go.
of time.
Zombie Guard, what about you? What are your thoughts on Gfinity's productions?
They're just not. Yeah, they're just like getting like a lot of like top names, like last Gfinity they got not just one or two kind of unknown names, which would be interesting and fine and actually like promoting the whole like, oh look, we're not an old boys club. But they got like 3 or 4, which is just like it's not going to cover, like Calder is not going to cover that. Nathanius kind of did. Nathanius did a great job, but even for this one, they don't have Nathanius. They have, who do they have? They have the same host who no one really knows. I guess he did a decent enough job. And then they have Caldor again, I believe, which...
He's playing another game, yeah?
Yeah, he's like,
done.
I don't even understand that one, but he still has like a fan base, so... I don't know. And then I figured who else
Are
they
we
got.
ostracizing people just because they're playing different games now? Is that?
Yeah, man, that's what it's about.
Duh.
When are you not? Man,
Well,
you're just really
It's
not.
just about like him playing the games.
That's what StarCraft do, man.
I'm not sure I actually don't know if he's like literally not like if he's actually playing or keeping up with StarCraft at all. Like I don't follow him on Twitter or anything, so I don't know if he's like commenting on like tournaments or whatever. But
I do. I believe in ostracizing anyone for playing a different game. No, absolutely not. You switched over to LOL and yet you're still hosting a StarCraft talk show. But that said,
I'm a host here.
yeah, right. That said, it just doesn't make there are so many other people out there in the community that we see regularly. And I mean, I'm sure Gfinity is going to eventually pick up on Heroes of the Storm, and then they have Kaldor as an asset. So maybe this is kind of reserving him for that time. He can do the job for StarCraft, and then when it comes to Heroes of the Storm, hey, they'll find another, because there are plenty of StarCraft personalities. So it's just kind of weird in the sense of he's been focusing so much on the other games while there are so many other people available that focus full time on StarCraft. Is that kind of what you're saying, Zombie Grub?
Yeah, sure.
Well, he also might be like closer to in the area, so it's
Yeah,
not
I was
like
gonna
you
say
have
there are a
fly
lot of reasons
someone out.
to get him. There actually are. Like I can see why they got him, but that doesn't change the fact that he doesn't have a lot of star power, basically.
Right.
So Gfinity just as a whole doesn't have a lot of star power. If Red Eye hosted, that would actually probably help them a lot, but he's not interested in doing that anymore, right?
Well, it's more hugely busy.
Right.
And yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you go with that one, but still, like they just like the star power, isn't there. Like usually, if Bling was casting, it'd be like, yeah, he's like an amazing cast. He's got that voice, and he's finally like a Protoss caster because I have so few of those.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a professional player, and that's great. But it's just like I hear Gfinity, and I'm not like, oh my god, I'm gonna wake up on Friday to do that. Although we're casting community streams, so I gotta wake up anyways. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I get exactly what you mean. All right, so I guess those are the thoughts on Gfinity. I'm excited. Those are a lot of awesome players. I believe it or not, as much as I despise what he did to Jaedong in 2013, and I will never let that grudge go.
Wait, what did he do to Jaedong in 2013?
At BlizzCon, man, he cannon rushed Jaedong out of the finals. Just every game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hold a grudge. That was my first live StarCraft event, and that was what I watched. Man. Anyway, so moving on, we're now going to go into WCS NA and WCS EU. First thing I want to talk about, Zombie Grub, before we got in here, did you watch the Naniwa versus Kung Fu Panda game?
No, I was out of the house the entire time, but I saw like Gung Fu Panda 3-0'd, right?
Yeah, he did. So I know you guys have casted a lot of him. What are your thoughts on him as a player overall? All matchups.
He's pretty good, but I would say that PvP is definitely like his best. I think it is statistically his best. So I don't know who I was talking to. Maybe it was on Rematch or something, but they brought it up and everyone was like, Nani was probably gonna win. It'd be a bit of an upset if Gung Fu Panda did, and I was like, yeah, I guess so. But Gung Fu Panda has been showing like increased skill in PvP, and Naniwa has been frustrated with PvP.
Mm-hmm.
Like the last time he had to play, he was very frustrated, and obviously that worked out. There's also I was worried about who would be like more like mentally affected by each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like would Gung Fu Panda hate Naniwa's BM towards him, or would Gung Fu Panda feel like Naniwa was like intimidated because if Naniwa lost, that would be even like more embarrassing.
Right.
So
this reminds me of when fucking Desro. Does anybody remember this? He like BM'd some dude after he lost the
Warren.
game. He, like talked mad shit. Yeah, was it? Yeah. And then he was like, "Well, I was just trying to get inside of his head." Oh, dude. Oh, Desro.
But yeah, so Naniwa lost 3-0, but Naniwa tweeted right after, he's like, he has trouble adapting to PvP on a player-to-player basis, right? So, and that's very understandable. I mean, PvP is a coin flip in itself, but then you have to adapt to so many different styles of play. Despite, we've always talked about Protoss has so many options in how they can go. And early game PvP is definitely a coin flip, and then you got to factor all that in. I could understand.
Like, PvP now is like a lot better because of the Mothership Core than it has been. Like you've got a lot more defensive options. You don't get like ultra hardly punished. I haven't played PvP obviously at all.
Is it?
I thought it was way better now than it used to be. I didn't think it was like.
It's not as coin flippy, no, but you still have builds that will definitely be better than others. There's basically like not. This is from Naniwa because obviously I don't play Protoss either, right? It sucks. But like Naniwa was complaining back in like WCS the first time, I think he was saying that they're just it's like Terrans can pretty much go 3cc like every game versus Zerg. We got that going for us, and for the most part it'll work. In PvP, you don't have a build like that. Like you have to adapt to whatever you scouts, or you can either fall behind drastically in economy or die to like VT rush, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So going through, let's see. We still have one more day left, day 3. I'm going to pull that up. Give me 1 second, folks. There we go. All right, so day 3, 1 day left. We have Happy Marine Lord, 4GG and Soul, Targa and Elfie, Maro Petraeus, Cyril and Harstem. Do you think Harstem's going to make it through, Zombie Girl?
Sorry, what was the group?
It's Cyril and Harstem playing tomorrow in the group. Do you think Harstem's going to make it?
Isn't this supposed to be the year of Hearthstone?
It was last year.
That was 3 years ago. Yeah, I think Harstem's a decent shot getting out. I know he's been very, from what we've seen, casting a Battle of the Ladder heroes and whatnot, he seems a little frustrated on himself. Like his plays and not have like 100% clean, and he's ready to go, and he knows he can do it. But I have faith in him, even though Cyril could be, he can be like really good. You know, he's like on that group of like all the like the youngins, right? Like Thermal and whatnot that are like 17, 16, and they're just like showing everyone up. But I got faith in Harstem.
Yeah, I feel like Cyril's been up and coming for a while now, and like the different people that I've been talking to are like, oh yeah, Cyril, man, he's coming. Just like get ready for it. But Harstem has a special place in my heart. I hope he cakes him. I hope he wins.
All right. What about Happy Marine Lord, TVT, Jack Attack?
I like old school wise, like Happy's been around for a while doing some stuff, but I think Marine Lord will take it. I think he's pretty nuts.
All right. I hope 4GG makes it through. Targa, Nero, are you familiar with Targa and his playstyle?
Oh yeah.
All right. What do you think Targa v Elfie?
Well, I would definitely like to see Targa win. Zerg in general is mainly focused on complaining with the Swarm Host change. There's so many scenarios where you see the Lurker would be a fantastic way to deal with the Protoss army, and they just don't have anything. It's the fungling the shielded units that just back up, heal back to full, and then push forward again. So maybe seeing Targa do some aggressive stuff, really just owning the macro, would be nice. But yeah, it definitely feels like Zerg is a bit behind.
Okay. One last thing I want to talk about before we move on, it was in WCS North America, and that was Puck versus Xenocider. Puck chose Xenocider, right? So do you think that was an unwise choice, Jack Attack? Do you think Puck was possibly underestimating Xenocider, or do you think he wanted a challenge for this group?
Well, I mean, at that stage in the game, right, I don't remember the exact order it came through, but I think Puck was one of the... Was he one of the last ones to pick? I don't know.
Yeah, he wasn't high up on the list.
He wasn't too high up on the list. I mean, Masa's nuts. Like, Masa's macro is ridiculous. He just, like, always, like, comes out of engagements on top and supply somehow, like, no matter what happens in the engagement. Obviously, he's not going to be picking Jaedong. I mean, I say obviously, but I wouldn't have done it. Suppy did, which was kind of crazy, right?
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, at that point in time, I think Xenocider is like a pretty good pick. It was like a really close match, you know, took it to 3-2 and all that, which is nice. But yeah, I think they're both like some of the best American players. It's too bad they had to knock each other out.
Yeah, that does suck. It does suck. And but it was good games. It went 2-3. It wasn't a shutout, so that was good to see. Maybe next season, man. Puck is still a strong player. I think that's really all we're for WCS NA. We just have that one group left for, WCS World. We have that one group left tomorrow, and we'll see what comes of it. We're going to move now on to some different topics. You know, usually we like to talk about what's going on in the community and all that. There isn't too much craziness going on. You know, we're talking about WCS and Gfinity and all that stuff coming up. DreamHack France coming up soon as well. But we're going to talk now about ladder anxiety and positive mental attitude, right? Your thoughts going in. So, Nero, real quick, your mic is a little low. So in the settings, if you could move it up a bar or two.
Jesus Christ, Nero, get your shit together, man.
Test.
Require additional bars.
You sound good, Nero.
Fantastic.
All right, so if you guys don't know this, if you guys watch, if you read the Weekly All-In, you'll see Neuroscience. It's a great article that gets written, I believe, just about every week by Nero, and he talks about, you know, his strategy and his approach, you know, the way of the samurai, and applying his logic and way of thinking to StarCraft 2. So, Nero, let's talk about the anger people feel when they get upset. When you lose to someone, you always say something really nice, like, hey, very well played, like just a really nice, kind, a little longer than just GG. How do you keep that mental attitude positive, and have you always been that way?
Not always. When I first got into online gaming with MOBAs like Heroes of Newerth, you kind of have to pass through the hazing process of getting BM'd by everyone. If you're a new player in a hard game, people are going to talk shit to you when you make mistakes. So the first step is kind of figuring out how to BM back at them and just be another asshole in the mass of assholes. But beyond that, you can kind of see efficient ways of dealing with rude behavior in gaming and efficient ways of sifting through a given match and finding out what the key mistakes you made were and disregard the bullshit that people are saying. If someone talks shit to you, says you're a shit player, but they give you a tip, it's important to take the good tip and apply that moving forward and disregard all the ad hominem attacks. It's kind of hard to do, and it's one of the main things that makes online gaming pretty tough for people to break into. But managing anger is its own process. Every time you get angry, you have the opportunity to manage your emotion and channel that into some productive action. Anger is nice. It's better than depression because it can motivate you. So use your anger and do not be used by your anger.
Every time you say something, I'm just like, yeah, that's a good thought. I don't really know how to follow up on that, but it's a very good thought. So
I feel like this is something that actually, like, I feel really strongly about all this kind of stuff. I feel like, especially because I've dealt with it and talking to people, I feel like one of the most important fucking things that you can ever do, like ever in your entire life, you have to do like one thing and you have to succeed at it, and it has to be something you didn't think you could do like beforehand, right? Like that's the thing that always carries me through like negativity. Like every time, like there's a lot of people like, oh, you're gonna be stuck in gold forever, and now you're gonna be stuck in plat forever, and you know people move the goalposts and shit. For League of Legends, right, or StarCraft, they're like, you're never gonna do this, you're gonna suck shit at this, or blah blah blah. I think the important thing, I think a lot of people let those thoughts fuck them up because they don't actually know if they can do something. So when people tell them they can't, they're like, oh well, fuck, like maybe he's right, maybe I should just give up because well, fuck me, you know. Whereas if you've actually done things before that you didn't think you could do, but you did after a certain amount of practice, you're like, okay, well, this guy's being negative as fuck, but I really don't give a fuck because I know personally that if I do it long enough, eventually I'll get it done, right? I think that knowing that in the back of your head is really important. That's always been the thing that's helped with like ladder anxiety and shit too. And I've noticed like people say that like when I'm on my stream, like after like a 45-minute game and then you lose, I'm like, how could you just queue up a game afterwards? Like fuck, after that loss, like if you've been playing for the day and you've lost like 9 games in a row, and people are like, God, like why the fuck are you still queuing? Like you're just like losing so much. Like yeah, I mean, but I know that eventually, like if I just keep playing games, eventually I'll start winning again because I'm pretty sure I'm still getting better. I'm pretty sure I'm still playing and improving and all that shit. But I think having that in the back of your head that you're constantly working on getting better is really important.
Or I think too, like a big thing for me about like just sort of getting over ladder anxiety and getting over like not being able to queue and things like that has been about changing my focus and changing my shift toward like, did I win or lose the game, more towards like, okay, how are my injects this game? Like, how are my chrono boost this game? Like, and focusing on like smaller in-game things that are measurable that I can improve on. It's like, okay, maybe I lost the game, but it's sort of like, but I played better than I played last time. Because especially in most ladder scenarios, you're going to get pushed towards the time where you're winning half the time and you're losing half the time. And there's not really a way to avoid that. So I think that like win-loss is kind of, it's a good metric to see your progress. So if you're like above 50%, you know that you're progressing and moving forward. But like the idea of like, oh, I lost the game, therefore I'm bad, or I lost a bunch of games, therefore I'm bad, is a little bit destructive.
I agree with that 1,000,000,000%. I would actually take what you said. I would take it like 15 steps further, and I would say that win-loss is a worthless metric for determining whether or not like you're improving or not. The problem with win-loss is it doesn't really the why. The why is so much more important than the end result. Like you could win matches for bad reasons. If you study like poker, like this, like even like elementary poker, not like being really good, but if you look at a lot of poker, like you can realize this. Like if you shove all in and you're a huge dog in the hand and you read your opponent wrong, like you can still suck out on the river. And it's like, okay, so basically like you go all in, but like you didn't have the best hand and you thought you did. But then when the cards come up and the final cards come out, you end up winning anyway because you got lucky. Like some people will look back on that and be like, okay, well, fuck, like I won the hand, like I guess that was pretty good or whatever. Like I totally, I was like, no, you fucking idiot, that was horrible. You just sucked out, like you got lucky. The same thing happens in MOBAs. It's really hard to do. In StarCraft, it's actually pretty easy to do. In StarCraft, you should be able to tell if you're making good decisions or bad decisions because there's not other people influencing the game. But being able to like figure out like specific things. This is a huge thing in music. I would imagine it's probably a big thing in athletics too. You have to be able to break down large systems and look at just really tiny, small things. Like, did you win or lose that last game? Maybe, but your opponent might have sucked. What if your opponent made a lot of mistakes and you won the game? Do you really feel good about that? I don't. If my injects are fucking horrible for a game and I still manage to suck out a win, I don't consider that a good win. Yeah, it's a win at the end of the day, and maybe even your win was up, but you still could have been playing poorly that day, and it's really important to recognize that. You have to recognize the little things. Are you injecting well? Are you making good decisions? Are you scouting well? Or are you just getting lucky and you managed to get a lucky string of winnings today because your opponent's fucked up? It's really important to be able to break that down, in my opinion.
The way you formulate that into a strategy is you establish criteria for moral victory. So you say, for this session, I'm mainly working on these things. And if you carry out those plans in a match, it's a moral victory. If you face someone 2 leagues better than you and they still stomp you, you can feel good about the loss because you're making progress in what you're trying to do. It's about that incremental process, every single match, every single creep tumor, every single inject, and giving yourself credit for all those small details. Because over the course of a StarCraft career, those small details vary drastically between really high league players and really low league players. So just developing relationships with simple things like building placement, overlord placement, map presence.
So 2 thoughts on that. First is that I think that's a very good way to go about it, because that's how Stefano trained himself. That's how Stefano learned, is he would go in, he didn't care about his wins and losses. It was, I am working on not getting supply blocked. I got supply blocked, he'd leave the game, be done with it, things like that. But you focus on that one thing. I agree with Destiny that it's not a metric, like that's not a good metric, the win-loss, because, in StarCraft, it's, you have different maps, you have different races that you're going to play against. So if you look at the last 20 games you played and you're like, oh well, I only won 2 of those out of 18 or out of 20, there are so many different factors into that to consider beyond just the reason you lost, in a way to measure that you are improving or you're not improving. So I think that that's a really good way to go about it, is you focus on a goal, and if you see yourself performing that goal correctly, that's a good way to look at improvement. And Jack Attack, I can't remember what it's called, but isn't there something like the staircase, or there's some sort of training program where you can focus on those specific things?
Yeah, so what we're talking about, what we're sort of bringing examples up, is called deliberate practice, and that's something that's been around in sports and competition and any level of improvement for a long time. But for the most part, especially in StarCraft 2 in the very beginning, most people were just laddering over and over again and just queuing up over and over again and sort of avoiding that. And the Sandbox is an experiment. It's also a training group where we attempt to find different ways to apply deliberate practice to StarCraft 2. Neuro is one of the players, coaches, mentors in the group. We've been doing that for almost a year now. And it's really great. We're sort of being led by Robert Yip, who is a performance psychologist, and he's a strength and conditioning coach for athletes in Ireland. And he also works with esports athletes. So he works with Dota players, League players. He works with TLO and Rhett, and a bunch of the other guys. But I think that basically the more that we can apply deliberate practice, which is basically the getting rid of all those variables and focusing in on particular problems to solve them, the better we're going to have, as a whole, progress and skill development, things like that. And you want to talk about Kespa. Oh man, Kespa's so good. Oh, Kespa, how are they so good? It's they are super strict about deliberate practice. They're in there all the time. They'll play custom games over and over and over again, same matchup, same map, and get deep into the strategy or the particular things about a matchup, or just taking something as simple as all right, late game engagements in TVP, go, and just drilling the shit out of that, allowing yourself to get that, because otherwise, right, you're not going to get into that late game scenario all that often, and the gap in between when you're getting into that scenario to train is so huge that a lot of times players will end up making the same mistakes that they usually do. They usually end up losing to the same strategies they usually do, the latter heroes, as they were.
In the late game.
in the late game, no, but we actually have data on that. We have a guy, Dave, who goes through masses and masses of of replays of all these different players that release packs and pretty much everything, any replay we can get our hands on. And it's pretty consistently true that the players who are sort of known to only ladder over and over again are end up being weak to the same strategies and the same tactics because they don't address the problem specifically.
I've said this like a million times, just like a quick quirk. One of the first things for music programs that you learn coming out of high school and going into college, that whole practice makes perfect. Your teacher will always tell you it's not practice makes perfect, it's perfect practice makes perfect. If you're not deliberately practicing, you are literally wasting your time. With deliberate practice, you can accomplish the same thing with like normal practice in literally, like, I'm not exaggerating, like 1/10 to like 1/100th of the time. It's in music, it's the difference between practicing an entire piece of music from start to finish over and over and over again versus just going through and working on the passages that give you trouble and then putting it all together at the end. The amount of time that you'll save is mind-blowing. It's absolutely mind-blowing. And if you ask anybody that's made that transition between like high school versus college music, like it's crazy how much more effective deliberate practice is.
Yeah, and I come from the same background. I went to college for music as well, so that's where I get a lot of my sort of deliberate practice influence.
Wow.
Yeah, man, we went to college for music. We had to learn how to
Talk about like real sports and shit.
Real sports. I mean, esports isn't even real sports. Didn't you see that ESPN guy?
Awesome tweeting.
We'll go there. We'll go there. But all right, Zombie Grub. Wait, are you Masters again?
No.
No, it's Diamond.
Yeah.
It's okay. Diamond's a new Grandmaster.
Right?
Wait, are you
Right,
Diamond
that's
on
what
EU?
Nathaniel said.
Yeah.
Hey.
Pretty sure, man. There are pros in Diamond, so if you're Diamond, you're like a pro.
Yeah, that's how I like to look at it.
I finally got promoted Platinum more, so moving up in the ranks, my knowledge is increasing.
Oh, shit.
You're also
Right.
also low Grandmasters.
Right? Exactly.
Your opinion on Cyclones becoming more and more relevant by the day.
Exactly. Exactly. I hope. Anyway, so Zombie Grub, when you played Brood War, so you had some mechanics to rely on when
No, I
StarCraft. You didn't.
I started playing StarCraft 2 in 2010, and by 2012, I was playing Brood War.
So that okay. So you always talk about Brood War. Hey,
I know.
listen. Yeah, she always talks about Brood War, so I assumed, she grew up playing Brood War. Like,
She's just showing what Thorn did. She probably just went and watched a bunch of YouTube videos on it and really had no idea.
She was just
Isn't
like,
that-
what's the
isn't that
StarCraft?
what-
I'm gonna go play a real game like Brood
All
War.
the people that I hang out with at DC LAN, they were all Brood War elitists. Like, completely. No, they were. Like, Destiny, you remember Lucky Fool? Does that ring a bell? Like 2010, he was kind of good, like, NA good.
I
Right?
might have like played him on ladder,
He's
but
like a
that's
Terran. And, well, he was like, he's actually pretty good. Again, like good foreigner in Brood War, which it meant like you were like B or something, which is that
he's
amazing.
like pretty decent.
Yeah, it was pretty good back in like 2006 or whatever.
Sure.
So they're the ones that kind of forced me to get into Brood War just by they were always talking about it and shitting on StarCraft 2.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll see what this game is about, and they like taught me, and they tell me like history lessons basically, and then they showed me like, oh, you should watch this guy, and this is the guy that did this, and this is why this exists right now, and I'd be like, oh, okay, that's cool.
well, so where I was getting at with that wasn't to call out your rank, but it was to talk about you and how you've grown as a player. So, and then
Sure.
what you did to get up in the ranks as a player. Like, how did you improve? Did you just throw games into the, grind the
No.
ladder?
No. I started out playing 2v2s, and then when I finally was brave enough to do my placement matches, I placed gold because I had some practice just in team games.
Mhm.
And then I experienced like really heavy ladder anxiety. So this actually like resonates with me because I just wouldn't. Every single time I would log on, I would see the ladder button. I just wouldn't want to press it. But I had no problem playing custom games. So I'd always ask my friends to play customs, especially if I was likely to beat them. To be honest. I find I got like Diamond just playing like 5 games every week or something insane like that. But
Oh,
because I
crap.
played so few, I would actually like win most of them because I was practicing elsewhere.
Mhm.
Then I got to Masters, and by the time I got to Masters, that's when my neck issues started to get really extreme. So, but when I got the Diamond to Masters, I did start actually like getting over my ladder anxiety and practicing a lot. And basically at that time when I did that, I just said like, what do I want from this game? Do I want to actually get better and like be able to, I don't know, look sort of legit whenever I talk about it, or do I just want to like dick around? And I've
Mhm.
always been like the macro player, like no cheese, no fun, all right, no fun allowed. So I just said like, no, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna practice like 15 games a day, and if I practice that much, then what do I care if I lose 10 or 5 games?
Right.
I suppose if you're only playing 5 games a day and you lose like 2 of them, you're like, well, fuck, like, no, that's it, it's too scary, I'm not gonna play anymore.
So what you're touching on there is the foundational issue with ladder anxiety, which is loss aversion. You're afraid of dropping rank, you're afraid of dropping points, you're afraid of losing matches on stream where other people see you die. In poker, it's one of the main things that people address. They say, if you want to get good at the game, you have to put in volume of hands. In StarCraft, you have to put in volume of games. It's about the games you play that incrementally build up, like we said, in the deliberate fashion, to become a better player. And players who have a volume advantage have an improvement advantage most of the time, multiplied by their improvement rate. So rather than see the ladder as a place where you're risking your points and you're risking your rank, it's a space where you exercise, like going to the gym. It's going to hurt when you lose. It's going to hurt when you lift weights and when you run, but it's going to make you stronger.
Yeah. It's so hard to say that to people though, and be like, that's how you get over ladder anxiety, because a lot of people we're talking to aren't people who can afford to do that. You know, I had neck issues, so I can't play like more than like 15. I can't cast and play in the same day. It hurts too much.
But I mean, it sounds like you were saying that you weren't playing, it wasn't due to neck issues when you were playing 5 games a week, right?
Oh, no, not at that time, no.
I feel like I really do. There is so much carryover from poker. Like, even the best players in the world can run bad, sometimes for months at a time. Because, but again, the variance in poker is so much higher than the variance in StarCraft. But like, the volume part is so fucking important. Like, it would be better to play and lose if you are focusing on getting better. It would be better to play and lose like 25 games in a day than it would be to win 2 or 3 games in a day. Because you win 2 or 3 games in a day, like, what is, let's play 2 or 3 games, what is that, so you're warmed up and then you quit? Versus you lose like 20, 25 games in a day, well, sure, but are you at least keeping track of, like, why are you losing the games? Like, what's going on? Like, are you keeping track of these things so that you're trying to fix them for future games? Like,
well, that's the biggest difference, is that a lot of people don't go through their replays. They grind the games, they get out, and they're like, oh, I lost.
You don't even necessarily, you don't have to go through replays, it helps, but as long as you're like trying to keep, I mean, you really,
if you can figure out,
as long as you're like thinking like in your mind, like, okay, well, I just lost like the last 4 fucking games because I keep getting all in, I'm not scouting, I have to address the scouting issue. As long as you're like keeping that, as long as the stuff's at the forefront of your mind and you go to play.
Well, that's exactly it. There are a lot of players that they don't have that mindset. Like the people you see.
And at that point, you're just wasting your time, unless you enjoy playing, and which
right.
Play. But if you're trying to get better, you're just wasting your time if you're not focusing on improving.
But imagine we're telling this not to people, like all of us, you're pretty in esports, and at least a part of our day's dedicated to it, but to a guy that like comes on once for like 5 days, like this is the same problem that StarCraft 2 is like already like a pretty hard esport to get into. So like, if you're only able to play 5 games like every 2 days, then yeah, that means a lot more to them when they lose 1 or 2, and then you just can't get over that. You can't say play more games, you're gonna be like, well, I can't.
So for somebody like that, I think that like I totally agree with that, and I don't think you should push everybody towards like, oh, you got to do deliberate practice, blah blah blah. Deliberate practice and the stuff that we're talking about, that's only if like the enjoyment for you in the game is deliberately improving.
Yeah.
Right? I have a keyboard next to my computer, like a piano, that I play a lot just for fun because it's fun for me, but I'm not getting better at it every day. Maybe like a little bit, but I just usually goof off. But the reason why I do that is because it's fun for me to play it. I'm not trying to deliberately improve my skills to the piano. It's just fun for me to play it. It's enjoyable. And it doesn't bother me that I'm not getting better because it's just something I do for fun. Same thing with StarCraft 2. If playing games in StarCraft 2 is fun for you, then just queue up and play. I wouldn't even suggest laddering. Just 2v2 or play unranked or whatever. If that's fun for you, then do it. But if you go into games with the expectation of your rank growing, but you don't want to go through the unfun part of improving, because just improving is not fun. That's not the same thing, right? People that are really good at music spent a lot of fucking time playing scales up and down for hours at a day, for hours daily, weekly, monthly. Like, there's a lot of not fun stuff that goes into improving before you actually get good. But if that's not fun for you, then just play and enjoy it. Like, don't ladder and stress out. Like, ladder is literally like ranking and competing. Like, why would you even play ladder if you don't want to? You know?
That's what I think, like, the first thing you have to do is, like, decide what you want from this game and what you can really, like, realistically do. So if you do want to improve, but you can only play 5 games a day, you could still try, and you could still do whatever you could, like, look over the 5 replays that you did and really try, but it's not going to happen. And that's when you might just have to be like, yeah, okay, I shouldn't invest so much into this. Like, so what? This guy over there is my friend, has no job, is masters, and I'm only platinum. Well, him making more money than he did because he has a real job, some shit like that, right?
The issue there, though, is ego. It's people who are taking themselves way too seriously.
Yeah.
It's a game, and we play a game, and it's cool. And they, like, lose 3 in a row, and they have a life crisis. It's hilarious.
I
We're like
ego.
making workers
I
ability.
think ego is important. I think the losing should make you mad. It makes me mad. That drives me to improve, right? But no, I know what you mean. Yeah, no. Sometimes people let the egos get like way too crazy, and then they feel like personally fucking slighted if someone is better than them, and then it makes them like miserable. Like if ego shit is actually like upsetting you, then you have to take a like if you find yourself like just mad in general when you play games, like just don't like figure out something else. Like it should be fun for you. Like the getting mad part and losing for me, like I enjoy that because I know that eventually I'll get better. So like that's a fun thing for me. But if you're legit like every day like getting super fucking mad and like you're not getting better and you just get madder and mad, like why are you playing? Like
Wait,
it's a video
Steven,
What?
when's the last time you told someone to kill themselves in game?
game?
Yeah.
I don't think I have since I've come back to League. I actually don't type. I very rarely get mad in game because you don't win games that way. It's not conductive. You just make your whole team mad unless there's like somebody flaming me. In the
No,
game
what about StarCraft?
And StarCraft all the fucking time. It's not fair.
Exactly.
The fuck. But that's fun for me. Like I enjoy it. I mean, like I don't get like super fucking vicious. Like I might just say like one other thing. I'm not like except for I guess like my games against Rough, but that was like.
Oh, well, okay, so I was just gonna bring that up.
But that was like a totally different. Like that was like a personal like vendetta bullshit. Like we had both did like a lot of personal insults on ladder and shit.
Okay.
But I'm just saying like in general like that should be like a common sense thing. Like if playing games makes you like legit like fucking mad and you walk away from games at the end of the day. I notice people do this. At the end of the day, every time you finish playing, it happens a lot in MOBAs. At the end of the day, you finish playing and you're like legit like in a bad mood. Like damn dog, like why the fuck are you even playing games? Like if that's not supposed to happen. It's supposed to be like a fun thing, you know?
But that's the difference is with me, and I obviously people get upset because they rage in MOBAs, but I don't get upset at the end of the day in a MOBA, especially if it's solo queue, because it's like there were so many different factors into why we could have lost, and as long as I feel that I did pretty decent, I'm not upset. But when it's StarCraft, it's solo 1v1, and it's like that's entirely on you for the loss. Mm-hmm. I take it a lot more seriously, you know, when you're putting all that time and effort into the build, you start all over again, that kind of thing.
I think too that it's very easy to take it a lot more personally as well. Just like, you know, getting into the whole ego thing.
It's harder to dodge responsibility when you are the only one playing.
Yeah.
I like that. That's addicted to me. I actually hate the shared responsibility in MOBAs because it actually makes it really hard to determine whether or not you won for the team or you lost for your team, or like to pick out your individual mistakes in a MOBA is so fucking insanely difficult. It's like a whole nother level over RTS, and RTS is very simple. Like I missed my injects, I fucked this up, this is my shit. But in a MOBA, maybe you actually did play really well all game and your team sucked. Or maybe you won the game and you're like 9-2, but that's only because you got babysat all game by a superior support and a jungle that ganked you all the time. Like it's really hard to pick that out in MOBAs. I don't like that about MOBAs.
Yeah, I think too, like one of the real important like factors in staying motivated and improving things is being able to know what mistakes you're making and how to go about improving them, and being able to see that improvement. And any point in time where you can't see that is, I think, you know, this big demotivating factor. And I think that like that happens as well in StarCraft, but just not in the same way, right? It's not like I don't know if I did well because I have teammates. It's I don't know if I did well because I didn't scout because I'm new, because I don't know what scouting is, and all of a sudden an attack just came and killed me. I don't know what the hell happened, you know? Like things like that I think are still sort of like the StarCraft's version of not being able to know, or not knowing rather, why sort of you lost the game or why you made mistakes.
One of the strengths of StarCraft, as opposed to some other gaming communities, though, is a lot of people like helping other people. Even if you're a platinum or a diamond player and some bronze player doesn't know what's going on, they'll help them out. Like there's Dr. Noob, there are all kinds of streams where you can ask questions. So it's a pretty good game for kind of getting some bearing on what you should be doing. And like getting someone 2 leagues above you to go over replay, super easy to do.
I still think... I honestly, I agree that it's nice that there are people to help, but honestly, I think you should learn how to teach yourself, because a lot of people are very, very bad teachers. Teaching somebody is actually like a really deliberate process. Like you have to break down what they're doing. Like I felt very strongly when I gave lessons, and a lot of people thought my lessons were really fucking boring. But in my personal opinion, like if you're giving lessons to somebody, especially somebody really new, you have to break down their shit to the most fundamental level and help them out with that before trying to coach them on higher level shit. I've seen a lot of pro gamers that give lessons who are like legit like GM players and they're good, but they'll get like a silver league player and their lesson consists of trying to teach them like a 4-base macro build, and this guy like can't even fucking hotkey his queens, and it's dog, like you gotta step way the fuck back.
Well,
you should be working on like 1-base builds, maybe 2-base builds, like doing all ins until you have like your timings on like your injects and your saturation counts down. Like there's no point in trying to teach somebody some higher level shit until they have like a rock solid.
And that's exactly because I want to take a second to shout out Lunar. If you ever see Like and Grope on the ladder as GM, he stole my name and he put it on his name. But I bought him an account to get him back in, and that was his tribute to me. But anyway, Lunar, if you knew him beforehand, before he took a year off, he's a great coach. He doesn't just teach you a build and leave you alone. And that's, what you're talking about, Steven, those lower level players, how you have to break it down. A lot of these higher level players, like people trying to break into Masters or something, these people will just say, hey, you've got some fundamentals, so here's a build. You can do that all the way up to GM, and that's the end of their hour-long lesson. It's let's go over that build a few times. But that doesn't help you when you're engaging in so many different situations, like, oh, the build didn't work here. This is how I got countered. You don't explain the details of the build, why it's working, and then the ways to, the fundamentals to understand it. I completely agree with that.
I think too, it's sort of like, it's really this this sort of confusing thing, because if you're trying to find a coach, you're like, oh man, coach, this person's a pro player, they're probably a great coach, and it's a big misnomer that like it's most of the time the players that are really really good are really good because they have this natural ability, and they totally lack the empathy of like, oh, I understand where you are right now. I'm thinking about this from your perspective, not from my perspective. And, oh, okay, all right, so we're going to, separate this thing, and you're going to work on your injects. And when you get that, we'll feed you something else that you can sort of understand. And, like, it's so fucking huge. Big shout out to Pig, man. Pig is a fucking amazing teacher.
You know
He's
how,
awesome.
like art books, some of them are, like, I guess you guys don't really know, but, like, the basic ones that you probably were given when you were, like, 12 years old, they're, like, draw a circle, draw a face, and there's your dog, and you're like, what the fuck?
Oh, I've
Like,
totally done that. And then like at the end, they have this like amazing picture. And it's like,
that's like, where's the fucking meme picture? You can literally find it. If you were to go Google like how to draw an owl, that's gonna be the first one. Like step 1 is draw the circle. Step 2 is draw the rest of the fucking owl.
You have like 50, like 1,000 like amazing artists that were talented from the very beginning, and they're like, oh, I guess you just need to like shade more. Like I don't know why your drawing isn't.
Yeah, because they don't.
Why can't you do what I can do?
I see that shit all the time. I see that shit all the time in my chat when I go to try a new game. Like people will say shit like that. Like when I was playing Dota 2, they're like, oh my god, like his map awareness is so bad. And it's like, yeah, no shit, because I don't even know how to fucking CS. Like you think I have time to look at the fucking mini map? I'm fucking terrible at this game. And like it's really frustrating when people do that, because I know that if I watch any of them play like League of Legends or like StarCraft, like I could look at them and do the same thing. Like, dude, like how did you miss that fucking scouter? Good dog, like your fucking micro is so fucking bad. Like, or dude, your army is so small because you're missing all your injects. Like, how are you so fucking bad? But I don't say that because I don't have fucking full blown Asperger's, right? Like I can understand like, okay, well, keeping up on your injects and understanding how to saturate your bases, that's a really important thing that you don't understand. So we should work on that before trying to do something like a 2-pronged fucking ultra macro 4-base attack. Like that would be completely wasted on you because you don't even know how to fucking, it's like you don't even have like the basics down.
The hidden attribute for coaches that Pig has that most other coaches don't have is flexibility. A student gets in your Skype call, they load up a game. The flexible coach is the one who's really paying close attention to where the student in particular is fucking up. Not trying to say, oh yeah, Roach Hydra Viper build, let's learn a Roach Hydra Viper build. And you load up a replay, you point out the gas times, and you say, okay, go do the build. That's kind of trying to squeeze them into a mold, rather than taking more of a guru approach of saying, where are you in your StarCraft journey? What are you doing now? How do you like to play the game? And then you see how they play the game, and you say, all right, these are your weak points, so work on these weak points. Now go, and then the student has to put the work in. The coaching session is not magic. It doesn't automatically make them do those things correctly for the rest of their career. It's more of showing them where they need to be walking on their path.
For sure.
All right, I think that's a good segue. We're going to take a quick break, run a few commercials, and when we come back, we're going to talk about mid-season demotions. I think we're talking about ladder anxiety and improving. It's a great way to get us into that subject because a lot of that plays into why people do or do not want mid-season demotions.
If you don't want mid-season demotions, stop fucking playing anything competitive and fucking kill yourself. That's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. I can't handle getting demoted. Oh god, no! That's so fucking stupid. I hate people that say that shit. Oh my god.
We'll be back in just a moment.